Hi, this is Lisa with Paper Pastiche, and I have a card series that I want to share with you over the next few days. And this, we're going to call it the 12 Days of Christmas Cards, and this is the first one that I have for you. And I am going to show you some tips to make them in bulk. So as I went along, I found it easier just to make, a whole set of them. And so we're going to begin. So the first thing we're going to do is start with a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of paper. And we'll score that at 4.25. We're going to have a printed piece of cardstock. This one is at 5.25 by 4 inches. The next piece we have is at 4.25 by 2.5. The next one is 4.25 by 4. 4.25 by 1 1/8. 4.25 by 1 inch. And a punch at 2.5 and one at 2.75. So I wanted to go through you with the supplies that I'm using real quick. The paper that I'm using is from Stampin' Up. This is Early Espresso. And the other color that I have here is Very Vanilla, also from Stampin' Up. The paper stack that I'm using is Paper Studios, the Paper Studio Old World Winter. The stamp set that I'm using is an older one by Stampers Anonymous, a Tim Holt collection, and it's called Mini Holidays CMS066. Ink pads, Stampin' Up, Garden Green, and Early Espresso. I'll also be using a Stampin' Write marker in Early Espresso, which is currently run away. I also have 2 paper punches here. This one is from Stampin' Up, it's 2.5 inches. This one is from Paper Shapers, and it's 2 3/4 inches. I'll also be using We Are Memory Keepers Crocodile. This is a corner chopper, the 1/2 inch side. You need a pair of scissors, some double-sided adhesive. I have a HEG tape here, and then you'll need some Stampin' Emboss powder. Here's the marker. Some Stampin' Dimensionals, bone folder, and I like to have this little sanding block to sand off any little rough edges. Okay, so I think I've got everything. Let's get started. So I'm going to show you a little shortcut, because 3 of these corners you're going to need to chomp with the corner chomper. So I don't know, I take a little shortcut. I line them all up together and chomp them all together. So now we'll begin assembling our card. This one's going to go in a landscape position. So you're going to put adhesive on the back of your mat. Center it all around. And before we get too crazy, carried away, we'll want to open our stamp pads and ink around the edges here a bit. I'm going to go pretty light on this because it's against a white or light colored cardstock. So I should have inked around my edges here, and then I'll want to ink around my edges here. this I'm going to notch about to the 1-inch place and then ink a little bit. Try not to be too messy on this light colored cardstock, but on this printed cardstock I'm going to ink a little heavier. You could ink your brown cardstock, the early espresso, but I am not going to. So the next thing that I'm going to do is stamp my sentiments and my branch there. So I am going to start with the Believe. This is a stamping block from Stampin' Up. I'm going to stamp near the end. And I'm going to switch to the Merry Christmas. Give that a good push. And then lastly, I'm going to do the branch. I'm going to do something a little fun with the branch. So I'm stamp this, and then while the ink is still wet, I'm going to take some of the Stampin' Emboss Iridescent Ice powder and sprinkle that over my wet ink. Shake that off. Put it back. And then you'll need a heat gun to set that. Kind of darkens the ink that I like as well. So the next thing we're going to do is take a Stampin' Dimensionals and put, oh, we're not quite yet, sorry. We're going to adhere this to our larger circle. And I'm going to take my marker and put little dashes all the way around. Just give it a little faux stitch look. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is adhere these pieces together. Just kind of centering it all the way around. Should have about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. And how I do this little banner is I'll put adhesive on there. And I'll leave a little bit of room to the right, maybe, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch or so. And then center the other way. If you have any adhesive hanging over, be sure you fold that back. We want a nice clean project. And then I will take my scissors and just kind of trim maybe about 1/8 of an inch close to the banner there. Okay, now we can begin assembling our card. assemble about 1/4 inch from the top and the sides. And then I'm going to put my banner on. Tuck in my edges. Get it about 1/4 inch from the bottom. Stick it down. And then we're going to put the pop dots on. Now it's time for pop dots. So I'm going to use 4. Okay. Let's see, take the backings off. And now I'm just going to put this where I'm covering the corner thing and leaving room for the believe. And stick it down. And there you have your assembled card. So next time, the next card that we will be doing is this one here, using some geometric shapes. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.